I think it's a 30-second delay, even if you put no delay.
Okay. I think, oh, we're live, yay! Hello, world, I'm so excited. We are here for our very first Ask a Crafter Live, and I know we have done this pre-recorded in the past, and we used to actually do this show every week, Kathy, Lorraine, and I, and sometimes I'd have special guests, and it was a lot of fun, except I really wanted to have more engagement with you guys, and I always felt bad if a question got asked and then got put in the fishbowl and didn't get answered for months and months later. I didn't even know if those people were still around watching anymore. So this way, if you're here and you ask a question, we should be answering it right now, right today. So hopefully it'll be a little bit better for you guys. I know that video quality might not be as good. Well, it can't be as good as pre-recording because a 20-minute video takes like 4 hours to upload. But I think the audio portion of this is probably the most important, and I know a lot of you guys listen while you do housework and craft and stuff, so I hope that that makes up for it, the fact that you're getting a longer show and you're getting your questions answered right away. I have two guests today. Lorraine couldn't make it unless she surprises me and pops in here at my house while we're broadcasting. She had some family issues to help out with. But I have Kathy, of course, Kathy Oldfield, who is now on Google with all of us. Hi, Kathy. And I have Melody Lane. A lot of you guys know her very popular YouTube channel. She does a lot of die cutting and card making and scrapbooking. Hi, Melody.
Hello.
Melody.
I'm so glad you guys could join me today. How are you guys doing, Melody? I guess I have to ask you one at a time, otherwise we'll all be talking at the same time because we all like to talk.
I am doing great today.
Great, great. How about you, Kathy? Are you doing good, Kathy?
I am. It took me a little while to get ready, to get back in the swing of things, but all is good.
Awesome. Melody is watching the YouTube chat, so if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the YouTube chat. And Melody, why don't you start with the first question that has popped up there?
The first question is by Aaron Schlamek. What would be your suggestion for sealing a decoupaged footlocker? I'm planning to use it for a coffee table, living room blanket storage, and would like to be protected in case of spills.
Okay, I would do like the regular decoupaging with Mod Podge, and after that's completely dry, I would recommend Minwax polyacrylic. I've always had good luck with that. It's you can use it on floors and cabinetry, so I think it would be just fine for a coffee table. Even if you are going to put your feet up on it and sit on it and stuff, it should be fine. Do you guys have any other products to add that you enjoy?
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Awesome. What do we have next, Melody?
Lexi Jasmine, or Jasma, what are some basic supplies that any crafter should have in their stash?
Oh, that's a loaded question. I bet we could all list off a dozen.
Everything.
Okay. I would say for any craft, you're going to need a good scissors. I recommend plain cardstock if you're doing any paper crafting because it will never go out of style. So if you invest in high quality, yeah, look at Melody's place. She's got
Right there. Perfect example right there.
Yes, excellent. Yeah, plain cardstock. It really depends on the type of craft you do. Some products will last a long time, so like high quality colored pencils, high quality watercolor pencils, high quality watercolors, because they're never going to go bad. You can always reconstitute them. Oh gosh, did she say what kind of crafter she was, Melody?
No, just for any crafter.
What do you guys think?
Adhesive.
Oh yes. Yeah, and I really like
or Mod Podge.
Yes, Mod Podge.
Glue gun.
My favorite adhesive right now is the ATG gun, but I use the adhesive from the Tape Depot because it's way cheaper. And they have 1/4-inch acid-free scrapbooking tape, and it's like $1.15 a roll if you buy it in bulk. And I also like the Beacon 3-in-1 glue right now. That's working for me really well for gluing down buttons and anything where I'd like to use hot glue, but for whatever reason I don't have my glue gun ready or it's not appropriate for me to have the hot glue gun going. What about for fabric, Kathy? What would you recommend a crafter start off with for fabric?
But for sewing, most definitely scissors are primary. You need a really good pair of fabric cutting scissors, and also like smaller snips that you'd be using at the sewing machine to cut your threads up. If they're, I mean, I have fabric scissors and use them, but I also have the self-healing cutting mats and rotary cutter, small one and large. They do really shorten cutting time, make it a lot easier, and a lot less this work for your hands. It's just much easier, especially if you have issues with your hands, to use a rotary cutter as opposed to cutting out. You also will need some paper scissors so that you can cut your patterns out. Some patterns. Good ruler.
Yeah, definitely. And you want to have separate scissors too.
If you're just into hand sewing, then some really good needles, some in-betweens, some embroidery needles, and good thread. It is well worth the money to buy good thread. Never use cheap thread. Buy the best thread you can afford.
Oh, good advice. Melody, does anything else, you think of anything else that a beginner crafter ought to have?
Well, I love glitter, but
Yeah.
it just depends on what you're using and what you're doing.
A good paper trimmer would be good.
Yeah.
Scrapbooking or card making, a nice straight one. My X-Acto, it's one of those big like teacher kind, and I've had it for 15 years, and it still cuts great. It's a little bit, the measurements are about a 1/16 of an inch off, so you just have to account for that, but it cuts a nice straight 90-degree angle, and that was a good investment. All right, what's our next question, Melody?
Alexa Yang, how can you make cute decorations out of some simple items?
Oh wow! Well, mason jars are excellent to decorate. There are so many ideas on Pinterest for painting and like wrapping the fabric and decoupaging on them. You can like get cheap things from like frames and vases from the dollar store, spray paint them, or just paint them with a coat of paint and add cute printables. You can repurpose clay pots, just really vessels, things like that, vases, anything like that that you could paint and repurpose. You can make like three-dimensional stars out of paper and hang them on your wall. I have a tutorial coming up on that this week. Pretty much, any sort of knickknacks and stuff that you may even have hanging around, a coat of paint, a little bit of ribbon, maybe some glitter, that could really go a long way to making some really nice seasonal decorations.
We just got some colored mason jars, I think at AC Moore. They were 10 for 10. They had them in different colors, and then they had jars of rocks and stuff to put in them, and this was not even a whole jar. We like shared the jars. They were only $1. And then we're going to wrap these with some fall paper and put ribbon and stuff around them and put the tea light candles, but the ones from the dollar store that are, not, what are they called? They're not the real candles.
Oh, the
Right.
Yeah. So, like, we're going to use these for centerpieces at a crop we're holding next week. I don't know if I'm supposed to share that, but I am.
That's a great idea. Do you have a tutorial on that on your website or on your YouTube channel, Melody?
No, not yet. We haven't really done it yet. We bought these colored, so we didn't even have to paint them or do anything. We bought different fall colors, and we also are making, we used packing paper that we got from stuff we bought, the brown packing paper.
Yep.
And we ironed it, and then we put it on our Cricut to cut, but if you don't, you can use a punch. We cut it into leaves, and you can use a leaf punch, or you can actually do any shape you want, and we're going to string them together, and we're spraying those with some distress spray.
Mm-hmm.
Make them have more color in them. Here.
You can do like a banner with those?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
They're going to like hang down. We're going to put them all across this thing, and there's going to be streams of them hanging down on a string. So here's what they look like before we spray them.
Yeah, cute. They'd be cute with gold spray paint too.
Yeah. I
Nice.
think we're going to use some like gold and some green and orange and a little purple, and
That's cool. Are your students going to be making these, or are you making them ahead of time to decorate with?
We're making them ahead of time to do a backdrop to take pictures. We're going to have like a photo booth and stuff.
Oh, fun! I want to go to your crop, Melody. Where is it? Are there spots? Can people come if they're watching and they want to go?
No, we sold out within 24 hours when we announced it.
Oh, that's awesome, though.
At Palmyra Inn next weekend, but it's all full.
Yeah.
But we'll have more.
Oh, well, you guys ought to definitely go to do you announce that on your YouTube channel or on your Facebook or something?
Yeah, I'm doing it with Crafts by Two. We're both hosting it. So we put it on both our channels and Facebook and everywhere.
Okay, and is that in the Rochester, New York area?
Yeah, I think it's 45 minutes from Rochester.
Okay. So if you're in that area, make sure you subscribe to Melody's channel so you can find out when the next crop's happening so you don't miss out, because that sounds like so much fun.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have another question? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Kathy, did Kathy have some ideas for some decorations?
Oh, yeah.
Just pretty much you can practically build a house with paper. Do anything with paper. Like I know, Lindsay, you had the topiaries. You did a video on topiaries, making wreaths. There's just so much you can do with paper. And fabric, just they cover the frames, put a great print and different prints and make different frames. Just empty frames hanging on the wall, and then put some things in some of the frames, and simple cutouts from coloring books. You know, cut that out of fabric and put it on a fabric background and have it on a canvas. Make block prints, color block. It's all kinds of things.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, and you can splurge on like a yard of really nice fabric if you're just going to use it as accents on a frame or something here and there. Or you're just going to cut it into ribbons and tie it on some, even like sticks in a jar look really cute. If you take that mason jar with rocks and you put some sticks in it and you put some of your paper leaves, maybe tie on some little scraps of fabric. I mean, that's just so organic and cute looking.
And of course, they do the bunting and stuff is so big now, too. You can do that with paper or fabric.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I hope that gave her some ideas. What's the next question, Melody?
From Mary Yoakum. What the heck can you make with used fabric softener sheets? I hate to throw them away. Surely there is something pretty that can be done with them.
Well, I have seen them use them in place of mulberry paper and card making, like for a layer. They'll cut it a little bit smaller than their cardstock card base, and they'll spray it with like glimmer mist or whatever spray ink you have, and maybe like sprinkle it with some glitter, because it will really catch glitter and not let go of it, and put that on a card, just like they would mulberry paper back in the day. Any other ideas?
No, I couldn't think of anything. But that's a great. I might try it.
Yeah, I've done it before. It is cute. You just have to be careful if there's a scent left in it if you're going to mail it to somebody, because some people are very sensitive to scents that it might bother them. Do you know if you can sew that, Kathy?
I believe you can. I mean, I haven't done it myself, but I don't think the material doesn't really seem all that different than some of your finer interfacing. So I don't know why you couldn't. And I mean, you can sew paper and paper towels. It's not necessarily gonna last forever, or you can't necessarily stuff the pocket full. It might let go. But I know that those sheets are really quite strong the way they're woven. So I don't see any reason why you couldn't sew shapes and even stuff a little and all.
Oh yeah, if you stuffed it with like sequins or potpourri or something, or punch outs or something, that would be so adorable on the front of the card as like a focal point too.
Yeah, are they that sheer? I don't happen to use dryer sheets, so are they that sheer that it would show?
They would be like almost like they would be the sheerness of vellum, I think, but they have that mulberry.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. And certainly, I was thinking of more stuffing and making like puffier accents.
Yeah.
But certainly, yeah. If they get that sheer once they're used, then I don't know why you couldn't use them.
Yeah, they're nice.
And you wouldn't have kind of sharp edges that you can get like with doing the plastics.
Okay, well, there's a couple ideas for her. What's the next question, Melody?
From Marianne, I see references to cut files on some blogs. I can't figure out what a cut file is. Is it something to print and cut out with scissors, or is it something to cut with a Cricut or similar machine?
Well, Melody's the one to answer that because that's what she primarily does. Do you want to explain it, Melody?
Well, I think it depends on the blog and what type. It could be different types, but there's a lot of cut files called SVGs that are scalable vector graphic, and that you can use on the Cricut Explorer, not the other Cricuts, not the older ones, and the Silhouette, and I think the Brother Scanning Cut does that also. But then there are some blogs, I think, that have something that you can cut out with scissors too. But if it's called a cut file, I would think it's more or less a SVG, or if they're using the Cricut Explorer, they can share the design space file in a URL, and then they might also call that a cut file. But most likely it's an SVG that you have to use on a cutting machine.
And wasn't like .cut, that was a native format of the original Cricut Design Studio, if I recall.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know.
If you saved a file in the old Cricut Design Studio software, it would save it as a cut file. And then if you made something in Scal, it was a scut file, SCUT, just to, I guess, keep it somewhat easy to understand.
And, well, Cricut Crafter for the older machines, that was saved as .ccr, I think. Something like that.
Generally refers to something you cut on your digital die cutter.
Yes.
Yeah. Some do offer PDFs though. I know like Lettering Delights offers.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. If it's a PDF, then it could be something you print and cut with scissors.
Okay, what's our next question?
From Applebee Designs, beginner tips for oil painting, specifically with water solubles.
Okay, I'll take that question since I do some oil painting. Water mixable oils, you can use them very much like acrylics, like as far as your cleanup. You still want to try to avoid putting too much water on the painting yourself. Think of the water just as your solvent to clean your brushes. You can paint with it straight out of the tube. You can thin a little bit with water if you need to, but you usually don't need to. The water mixable oils should be at the consistency to go right onto canvas. But I think probably the biggest tip is not to put too much paint on your canvas at once because it's going to stay wet for hours and hours, so you can get into kind of a mess. If you start painting around, things get mixed if you have too much paint on there. So my big tip would be to sketch it out. You can even sketch it out with a watercolor pencil since the paint is designed to break down with water. And then I would kind of block your colors in a thin layer, and then go in and add shadows to that, then add highlights to it. Basically just build it slowly and don't put too much paint on your canvas. And just, rinse your brushes in water, but then follow up with a soap and water wash because they will need an actual washing. You don't just rinse them like watercolors. You have to wash them with soap and water like you do acrylic paints. Did anybody else have anything to add? Do you guys paint with the water mixable oils?
No, I was going to take an oil painting class, and the first day of class she taught us a little watercoloring, and she was pregnant and could never come back and teach anymore.
Oh, bummer.
So I never got the class.
Oh, no. Kathy, have you done any oils?
No, not at all. Just acrylic, and that was back, toll painting, not real, like actual picture painting and stuff. But I know that you had recently tried out some of those water-soluble oils and were quite impressed with them. So maybe if they work similar to acrylic, because I like the unpredictability of watercolors is really hard for me to deal with. So I like the acrylic, that where you put it, that's where it's going to stay, and you have a lot more control. So I think I probably like it as a medium, but I haven't done any yet.
And I tried the Reeves water mixable oils, and they were very nice, and they're very cheap. I actually liked them better than the Winsor Newton ones because the Winsor Newton ones were stiffer, and I felt like I needed a medium with it, or I had to add water to it, and I didn't really want to add too much water to the paint because I didn't want to compromise the film. And the Reeves were just like the right consistency. And I mean, I think I paid $5 for a set of like 10 paints. So I mean, it was like cheap. A great way to get started. And you know if you liked it or not. Spending under $10 instead of spending $100 and realizing it's not for you. You can always upgrade, but I think you get a good feeling for it with the Reeves brand and not be out very much money if you don't really care for it either. What's the next question, Melody? Oh, I'm sorry, Kathy. What'd you have to say?
No, I was just going to say that's definitely a great deal, especially to start in something new and not have to invest a whole lot just to even find out if it's something you're interested in.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing with the cheaper paints that you'd run into, I think, like the working properties with those paints would be just as good as the expensive ones. Maybe light fastness down the road, they're obviously not using the expensive pigments because they couldn't do it at that price. But to get the feel of it and see if you like it, your paintings might not last 500 years, but you get a feeling for it. I don't think it would compromise your enjoyment of it at all, and you'd be able to try before you spend a ton of cash on them. I think we can go to the next question.
Shelley Parchman asks, is there a way to stamp in white? I bought a white ink pad, but it's not opaque enough against a dark background.
I think white embossing powder is a better choice. Like use like a clear Versamark ink or glycerin, and use white embossing powder. That will give you such a stark white, and it's not going to smudge. The problem with white ink pads I have is that even the best tend to smudge. You have to like heat set them or really give them a long time to dry. I've also stamped with white acrylic paint and it's worked really well, or gesso and it's worked really well. But you'll have a little more accuracy, I think, with a white embossing powder. Anybody else have a recommendation on a white pad?
No, I just have trouble with it.
Yeah, it's tricky. It seems like whenever I do anything with a white ink pad, if I have an embossed design and I wipe it with a white ink pad, I'll leave it or I'll heat set, and I still manage to smear some of it. So I just go with a white acrylic paint or I use a white embossing powder.
Wanda Hansen asks, hi guys, Lindsay, I seen your coasters you made and I am interested in making some. What is the chart pack, xylene, and where do you find it?
It's basically a clear blender marker that instead of alcohol being its base, like your Copics and your Pro markers and your Prismacolors, it has a solvent called xylene in it. And xylene's a product you can buy at a hardware store, but it's super convenient to have it in the marker. And the marker, I've had mine for like 8 years and it hasn't dried out. But it's basically just that chemical that you get at the hardware store, but it's already in a marker. It's probably about $4 or $5 at your local art supply store, or you can order it from like Jerry's Artorama or Blick or Cheap Joe's or any of your favorite online art suppliers. They'll have it because it's a pretty popular brand.
So what's the brand again?
Chart Pack.
Chart Pack. Okay.
I got mine at AC Moore, but it wasn't a common item that they usually sold. I got like a set of 15 for like $15 or something. I think they got it in by mistake or something. They were just looking to get rid of it.
What aisle is that in, Lindsay? Like, what other products is it near?
It would be with your drafting supplies, your other markers, colored pencils, pens, that sort of thing. All right, what's our next one, Melody?
Sylvia Gonzalez asks, I love the Tim Holtz line and was wondering if there is a cheaper machine that works with dies and embossing folders.
There are so many machines. I'll show you what I have. I'll grab it because it's not too big. I have the old Big Shot, and I'm going to look at the date on the bottom. It was made November 4th, 2005. So, I mean, this sucker is
old.
Durable, it's old, and it still works like a charm. I use it every day. And this one was by Ellison, but Sizzix and Ellison are the same company now, or they're owned by the same company. So you can also get a big kick. There's a lot of different variations of this machine. I know the Big Shot has a longer warranty than a big kick, but essentially it's the same machine. And it's not the cheapest, but if you get 10 years out of it, then it's not bad. That I think that goes for about $100, like a full retail price, which nobody ever pays full retail price, but I think it's like $110 but they go on sale 40% off at Joann's and AC Moore. And you know, you can shop around online and get it for, you know, around $60, 60 to $80 pretty frequently. But that's the one I use. That's the one I have the most experience with. So that's my favorite because I have tried some other ones. But I'll let you girls chime in with your favorites too, so we get a more of a balanced opinion here.
My favorite is the Evolution Advanced because it has a dial, and I think that's around $100 also. But I also like the Cuttlebug. It does just as good of a job, and you can get that right now at Cricut.com for only $50. You can get free shipping. So if you're looking for, you know, something less expensive, the Cuttlebug is only $50.
Oh, that is quite a bit less. And if you don't have a dedicated room and you kind of have to pack it up, doesn't it fold?
Yeah, it folds up nicely, and it comes in different colors now too.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they have one in black and silver. They have blue and white and green and white.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only colors.
I ended up with an Evolution, one of the old, no, what's it called? The Epic 6, because it came with like a kit of some other stuff that I had bought, and it's not as rugged, but I mean that also does the job. I don't know if it's any cheaper or not, but that was Lifestyle Crafts, I believe, or Quick Cuts or Lifestyle Crafts. I think they're the same company, and that one was all right. Kathy, you're using a Big Shot, aren't you, or a Big Kick?
I think I have the one that yours is not. So if yours is a Big Shot, I have the Big Kick, and of course it's much newer. I don't think it's quite as heavy, but still basically the same machine. And yeah, I really like that. And I have the Epic 6, which is smaller, like little machine to kind of. It even has just like the handle is like part of the whole machine to just kind of grab it and take it someplace. So that's nice, but it just doesn't, like, as far as cranking it through, you know, it's lifting off the table a little bit and hold it. So my girls are always using, you know, the Big Shot, Big Kick, and I'm very happy with it. So I haven't tried anything else or felt like I needed to.
And the thing with the Cuttlebug, the Big Shot, the Big Kick, the Epic 6, those all take the same size dies. I mean, you can take up to a 6-inch wide die, and you can take the thin ones and the thick ones, and pretty much any die you have. So it's not, they're all going to work with whatever dies you have. The one that you have, Melody, is that a wider base? Can you put wider dies through that?
I think it's 6 inches.
Okay. Is that like the Cherry Lynn die? Is that the same one that Cherry Lynn offers as well, with the dial? Instead of using a sandwich, you use a dial. Is that the premise?
I don't know. This one's by We Are Memory Keepers.
Is the Cherry Lynn one out yet? I guess I thought it was still.
I think last year. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, okay.
It's called like an Evolution or something like that too. So that made me think that was maybe the same die cut machine branded for different companies.
Could be.
So Melody, with that machine, do you use like your platform and 2 cutting pads, but you use the same sandwich no matter what, and you just change your dial? Is that how that works? Yeah. Okay. That'd be kind of nice, not worrying about the shims so much.
Yeah, that's why I got it, because it has a list of all the brands of different dies and a different embossing folder. Well, most of the embossing folders are the same, but all the different dies by the brand, and you just turn it to that number.
That's nice. That sounds like the Cherry Lynn one as well, so I'm thinking maybe it's the same.
It could be the same
machine. So there are some machines that take a wider die. I believe the Fiskars Fuse does, and the Big Shot Pro for consumer models, and then I think you can get into like AccuCut machines if you're doing a lot, but those are going to be upwards to, you know, $300, $400, or $500. So, and they take a different die. They're not going to take the consumer models. They're going to take a professional model, which is more expensive. So that's another thing to consider if you're doing it for a business and you needed that sort of workhorse capability. But I'm happy with my Big Shot. But if did you say it was called an Evolution?
Evolution Advanced.
Okay. And then there's also, the one thing I will say about the Big Shot and the Big Kick is it takes fewer cranks to get your die through as opposed to a Cuttlebug and the Epic 6. So, you know, it's a little quicker to use. The Tim Holtz one is motorized, and that would explain why it's a little bit more money, because there's a motor in there. Some machines can have an optional motor that you can attach afterwards, so you can start with a hand crank model, and then if you decide you want that, you want to add the motor to it, you can. I'm trying to think of who does that. Does anybody know?
Evolution Advanced has that. You can get it with a motor.
Okay, and that's like what, like an extra $75 or something like that?
I don't remember.
Yeah. That would be a good option if you weren't sure. But you know, absolutely the Cuttlebug. If you're just looking for, just looking for a small machine that will cut everything, you know, that would do the trick. So, because I think she did mention budget being a concern.
Right.
Yep. So just just make sure it takes all standard dies, and you should be all set. And just search reviews. You can search reviews on Amazon or Joann.com, or even ask any sort of stamping groups that you belong to online, and they'll tell you whether it's a piece of junk or not. All right, what do we have next, Melody?
Sandy Parker says, what camera do you use and does it have a remote?
My camera, it's actually paused right now because I'm in the middle of another video. It's across there. It's a Samsung F90. It doesn't have a remote, but it has a pause button, and it's the only camera I've ever seen with a pause button. So if I'm in the middle of a project and I need to go clean my paintbrush, or I need to go across the room and get something, I can hit the pause button and then come back and hit it again when I'm ready to roll again. So instead of it creating a new file, so it eliminates the need for me to edit every video. And if I have it plugged into the wall, then it will stay paused forever. If I don't have it plugged in, then it'll only pause for 5 minutes. That's the only downside. And the other downside being is that it doesn't record longer than 20 minutes. It starts a new file after 20 minutes. So that's kind of a bummer. I wish it would record, until I was done recording, but that's a Samsung F90. Doesn't have a remote, doesn't have the option to do an external microphone either, so that might be kind of a deal breaker for you, but I'm really happy with it. I've been using it for about 3 years, and it's shot about 1,000 videos, and it's still going strong. I'd buy another one in a heartbeat if it broke today. What do you use, Melody?
I have a JVC camcorder. I think it's the Envario.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's many different ones, but I've also been using my cell phone, my iPhone,
mm-hmm.
and that has an app on it where I can put the same app on my iPad, and then I can see on my iPad what I'm recording, and I can hit record on my iPad, and it will record from my phone, which is above me, so I can see everything on my iPad.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it records just as well as the camera.
Wow. Yeah, that's a thing, though. If you don't have a camera and you have a smartphone, you probably do just as well, just to experiment with that. And when I started out, I used my my photo camera, and I used the video feature on that, like for my first videos or something. I mean, it's use what you have, and then I did a little research before I bought that. When I saw it had a pause feature, I was like, that's what I want, because I don't like to edit, so I went for that one. All right. Kathy, you're not doing any video right now, are you? Other than your tablet, which is taking pretty good video.
Yeah, I'm just using my tablet. But I'm in the midst of trying to decide if I'm gonna put my big girl panties back on and go back out into the world and work in an office. Because I've been home for years, bringing up my children, and had an opportunity to watch some other people's kids, but those kids are kind of grown up, so they don't need me anymore. My girls just started middle school, so I need to decide what to do. So I'm trying to decide if I want to go back into an office, which is just a lot different than what I've been doing, or if I really want to do what you guys have had the guts to do and start selling my crafts and try to do something in the big wide world web, which also takes my big girl panties. So I'll probably be looking for a camera. So I'm interested to see what other people have to add to it and what we get for comments to see what there is for cameras out there.
Oh yeah, definitely. We're living the dream, aren't we, Melody?
Yeah.
Hey, we've got 149 people watching right now. How exciting is that?
Oh yeah.
I think that's awesome. Hello, people. We're all live. I'm so glad nobody has sworn or anything. That's what do we have for another?
Everybody saying hi and just saying hi and glad you're back and everything. So we're glad we're back too, and so happy that you're joining us, and thanks.
And I'm so excited to be here on Ask a Crafter. I've just always watched.
Yeah, it's fun. This is new. I mean, I'm sure we'll get a little smoother as things go on, but I think it's so cool that you can reach out and communicate with so many people, and like Melody and I mean, we don't live that far away. We live probably, I don't know, probably 8-hour drive or something, but I mean, you can't do that every week, but you can pop online, and it's neat. And I like listening to other people's hangouts. I'll listen to them while I'm crafting or cleaning or whatnot. I just find it so interesting to hear what different people have to say when they're together. It's fun.
Okay, Alicia asks, what would you recommend for drawing whiskers on top of a cat acrylic painting?
Well, I think I would use a liner brush, and those are actually, I have one right behind me, right here. And I just want to show you because it's different than just a fine point brush. It's got a really long bristle, so you can see that. Look how long those bristles are. Hopefully that shows up. Maybe if I put it up high, you can see there. And the reason it's got those long bristles is so it can hold a lot of paint and you can get a long line. And I would take your acrylic paint and I would add a little bit of water to it so you get the consistency of like a cream, like whole milk or light cream. And then put your brush in there and twirl it in the paint, and you're going to get a really fine point. And then you want to use your brush at a 90-degree angle with your canvas, and you just want to kind of draw it out. Start where it's like the whiskers near the nose, and pull it out, keeping your brush straight up and down, so you're just using the tip of the bristles. I would recommend that over using a pen, because sometimes your pen will clog up with whatever. Even though your painting seems dry, it will reconstitute some of that paint and it will clog your pen and ruin it. So, and also, this isn't going to wear off. You're using the same paint that you painted with, so that's what I would do. Liner brush. And this is you can get them in different sizes. This is a number 0 script liner by Royal Brush. Does anybody else have another suggestion, or?
Nope.
What color
paint would you
do that in?
What, Kathy?
What color paint would you do that in?
It would depend on the painting. If it was kind of like a cartoonish or like more pop art looking painting or toll painting, I'd probably use black. Unless the cat was black, then I'd probably use white. Or you could use black or white's pretty safe as long as you use black in the painting somewhere else. Or you could tone it down and use like a gray. Use something from the painting as well. But just make sure you get enough contrast that it shows up.
Okay, Joyce Kimball asks, do you ever find yourself hopping from craft to craft without finishing the last one for a while? Is it ever because you're not happy with how your project is working out, or what do you do to fix it?
Oh, I'm a serial crafter. I've got a knitting project upstairs on my coffee table. I've got a knitting project in my bag. I've got a half-finished card on the other side of my laptop. I could look around here and find probably 25 things I've started and haven't finished. So I just keep on trucking, going after whatever I'm interested in. What about you girls?
Yeah, I usually try to finish, but I don't. I have a blanket I was crocheting. I learned to crochet from YouTube, and I get bored if I'm doing the same thing, so I can't just do the same knit over and over, so I changed it up, changed color, and it's only about this wide, and I started it like 6 years ago, and it's still not finished. I haven't touched it in like 5 years.
So now it becomes a table runner. Put that on the table, call it a table runner, and you're good.
Yeah, it's really pretty. But I wanted to make it a blanket, and it just hasn't happened. And there's just a few things here and there, and there's lots of things in my head that I want to do, and then I don't do anything because I can't decide what to do first.
What about you, Kathy?
Oh, I finish everything I start. No. I have so many unfinished projects, and I know that I came by it honestly because my mother did the same thing. I mean, when she passed away and we were cleaning out the house, I can't tell you how many things that we found that I know she started when I was 2, that my nearly 70-year-old sister, there was projects that were started for her when she was little that were in dross and just not finished. I think that really if you have a crafty heart, that kind of goes with the show, that you have so much interest and creativity that you are excited about it and moving on to new products, and you can projects. You can try to set goals that, in a month you have to finish 2 things if you don't want it to get out of control like it is in some people's houses. Those people shall remain nameless. Or, just go with it and do what you enjoy and what brings you happiness at that moment, because that's kind of the whole point.
Do you guys have a problem, like, throwing it away if you don't finish it? Or do you always keep it and intend to finish it? Melody, I guess I'll ask. Do you throw away or do you keep them?
It depends on if I think it's usable or can be finished. If I just don't like it, I'll throw it away.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Kathy? Do you always keep it or do you sometimes toss them?
I have a really hard time throwing anything away, so I will always probably think that it can be used for something else, or that the kids might use it, or that I really might come back to it and see it with different eyes. And
oh, did we lose Kathy? Oh, there she is.
That I will finish. Keep.
Oh, I think you cut out for a second, Kathy. Oh, you're back.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's okay. I think it's just a bandwidth that happens sometimes. Yeah, I think if it's a paper crafted item and I've just, have lost interest, I'll toss it. If it's yarn, I might hang on to it, or I might unravel it and just, throw the yarn back in the bin so I don't waste that. But yeah, sometimes I get to the point where as you can see, my room is chock-a-block, and if I have too many things undone, it feels like a weight, and I have to just get rid of it so I can start fresh. Every once in a while, probably every 6 months or so, I go through and ask myself honestly, am I going to finish that, or should I just pitch it? And even my finished things, sometimes I just pitch it. If I can't throw it in my booth and resell it, or if I don't think I could, use it for anything or give it, or anybody would want it, I'd just pitch it. Because I make so much stuff, I can't find use for everything, I guess. It's kind of sad. Oh, the truth comes out.
Okay, Lisa Miller asks, please, any help with Spellbinder dies? I can't get them to work. Even got one of the metal plates. If not, they are going in the trash. Had me crying.
Oh, did she say what is she live right now? Does she? Using?
Let me see. Oops.
If you're here,
I think she is, because that was one of the ones asked after we started if she's still here.
Yeah, if you're still here, can you let us know what machine you have? Because it's probably you just don't have the sandwich absolutely right. Did she go in to say whether it was the embossing that she's not getting or the cutting?
I read everything she said. So
okay, the metal plate will help, and I use the metal plate under the cutting pad so it doesn't cut the plate up. You need to make sure that it's going through that machine and it's tight enough to cut the paper, and that sounds like that might be her problem, that she doesn't have enough packing in there. So even if you have like a cereal box, if you could just cut like a piece of cardstock a little bit smaller than your cutting plate and put that between your platform and your plate. Well, I'll show you right here. You've got your platform. I think most machines would have a platform like this, and then you could put your metal shim right on top of the platform, then your cutting pad, and then your paper and your die and your top cutting pad. If that is not cutting when you put that through your machine, between the cutting pad and your platform, just put a thin sheet of like cereal box, like a cracker box or something, and see if you can crank that through. If it feels like you're going to break your machine, don't crank it through, but it should give you some resistance when you're cranking it through, and it should cut through. If it's the embossing part you're having trouble with, you should have like a squishy pad. That's a thing you need if you want to emboss these Spellbinders dies, and it just feels like a thin sheet of rubber. It's like a silicone, I think, and I don't often emboss my spell binders because I'm lazy. Melody, do you know or Kathy, do you know, either of you know the sandwich for embossing? You do something different, I think, don't you? Like as far as pads and platforms and stuff.
I'm thinking it's just
Yeah.
the platform and the A and 2B plates.
Okay.
She says she has the big shot, and she says it takes so much to get them out of the die. It's getting out of the die. So maybe she's talking about getting the paper out of the die.
Oh, you know what? I bet she's talking about the detail dies, and I was thinking nestabilities. She's on live right now.
Yes.
Can you ask her what kind of dies, if they're like lacy or, well, she can hear us obviously. Huh?
Yeah, you can ask her.
Melody, ask this lady. She can't hear. You can actually answer me.
And Kathy is recommending dryer sheets and wax paper together, and Mary Ann also said dryer sheets and a poker tool.
Oh,
and
okay.
Caitlin also says dryer sheets.
Do they put the dryer sheet, is it a used dryer sheet? Is that another use for our used dryer sheets?
Yeah, I think if you put the dryer sheet,
like with the paper, right?
Yeah.
And then cut it and then poke it from the back, from the holes in the back to pop them through.
Mary Ann says run the dryer sheets by themselves, then the paper, and it leaves the residue on the dies that help it come out.
Oh, just like using wax paper has that, like, leaves that little bit of a waxiness back. Oh, well, you know what? Maybe she can try that while we're on live, and she can come back if that doesn't work, and we can troubleshoot a little bit more. Because there's that new tool by Spellbinders, and actually Sizzix has one too. One of them comes with a special mat that you need, and the other one you have to buy the mat separate. But it's like a bottle brush kind of on a wheelie thing, and you wheel. Oh, Kathy has one, don't you?
Yes.
You have
Do you
one.
want me to go grab it?
Yeah,
I can go grab it.
Yeah, go grab that. Kathy has a special tool, and it looks like a baby bottle brush, but it's on the end of like a wheel, and you run that over your die too, and that takes out all those little tiny bits, like the little throwaway pieces, so that you can get it out of the die easier, and you don't have to poke out every single little hole by hand with a poker tool. She's gonna grab it so we can see it.
And while she's grabbing that, Sandy Parker has asked what was the name of the ATG tape distributor you talked about in the beginning.
TapeDepot.com. It's either the Tape Depot or just Tape Depot. And I had great luck with them. They shipped free shipping, and they shipped quickly. And I had a lot of other people recommend them to me before I ordered from them. So Tape Depot. And get the 1/4-inch acid-free scrapbooking tape. It's like $1.15 or $1.20 a roll when you buy a case of it. You can buy a smaller amount and pay like $2 something a roll, so it just depends on what you need. I bought a big case and I just sell it off to friends that also have the guns if they need it. So split an order with friends if you can. All right, Kathy, you have the tool. Could you show us that again and tell us what it's called?
It's Binders tool in one. You can see the center, and it's basically just a wire brush here. Well, nylon brush on wire, and rolls across, and you just roll it across your die, and it like pops the stuff out, and they just like really kind of scrub it. And then the poker tool on the other end, and there might be, I think this unscrews, and there might be another kind of tool you can put here on the end too, like maybe that picks up jewels or something, if I remember correctly. But and I believe they're like $14.99 at AC Moore or whatever, so you can use a coupon.
Did you get the special mat that goes with that, Kathy? There's like a.
I'm sorry, what?
Did you buy the special foam mat that goes with that? I've heard it really helps.
Oh no, it was sold without it, and I don't know if they had that initially. Were they pushing that initially? Because I
think it came out about 6 months later, and then Sizzix has one now that comes with the mat, and I think it's almost identical. Like it's the same idea. So I don't know anybody that has a Sizzix one to know if it works the same or is as good or not, but I know theirs comes.
So how is it that the mat, I mean, how do you work it together? I mean, you like lay it face down on the mat and then roll the brush over the back of the die? Is that?
I think it's after you roll your brush on the die and you pull out the die. If there's stuff left over, you put that on the mat and you roll over it again, and it frees all those pieces.
Yeah, it has some give. I'm assuming that probably a mouse pad would work if that's the case.
Yeah, I think it's like I think it's almost like a styrofoam material, like you know, that crinkly not Oasis, but you know the other stuff, the cheaper.
Yeah, like the white.
Yes.
The white kind of cushion. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like that. Okay, Melody, do we have any more die updates, or are we going on to another question?
Another question.
Okay.
If I can interrupt, I see that we might have skipped a question. It's a fairly general one, but I don't want to leave her out.
Okay.
It's Shadowlander asked about any good craft ideas for the winter. And I would say any kind of knitting or crocheting. I made a blanket when I first had my kids, and my son unfortunately was born in one of the hottest summers, and that was not the time to be crocheting a blanket. But certainly that what is it, the games, the hunter games, or what's your Katniss?
Oh, the Hunger Games.
Hunger Games, yeah, sorry. Katniss cloak that cape or shirt that Lindsay has and is done with really heavy yarn, or try and crochet is always good. Quilting.
Yeah, anything you can do inside and stay warm, pretty much.
Watch TV, watch movies, you know, doing little embellishments, cutting things out.
Yeah, I always think that also once you get past Christmas, scrapbooking is great because it seems like you're not taking many photos from December until, you know, springtime. It just kind of, you have that time indoors and you have all these pictures from the fall because it's such a busy photo taking season that it's a great time to get caught up on scrapbooking. And we all get kind of like the winter doldrums, so if you can get together with your girlfriends and scrapbook like on a cold winter night, that's an awesome craft to do, I think.
Okay, Chris Cat says, what do you all think of the Fibonacci journals? I've not heard of that one, so don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Fibonacci journals?
Fibonacci, I don't know what they are.
She says it's Fauxbonichi.
I wonder if it's faux, like it's copying something else?
Oh, I don't know. She has it as one word.
I have no idea what they are.
I don't either. Rhonda McGee asks, what is the best type of resin, price, quality, and easiest? I haven't worked with resin.
Well, the cheapest would be polyester resin. I've used Cast and Craft. It's a great value. I get the big jugs of it. And I've had good luck with it. It's super stinky though, so I only do it when it's like this time of year when it's dry and still fairly warm outside, and I just cure it outside. But it's very sensitive to humidity and temperature, so if it's humid or cold, it doesn't want to cure very well. I do it outside, and then I put a clear plastic Tupperware, like Rubbermaid tote over it, so the sun can help cure it. And I use a little extra catalyst to make it cure a little quicker in a cooler temperature. But I've heard really good things about Little Windows brand. It's supposed to be completely odorless. So I think it's more expensive. It's an epoxy resin, I believe, and I think most epoxy resins are more expensive. But I've had a lot of people comment and say they really like it and it's odor-free. So that's a Little Windows brand. I haven't used it personally, but I've heard it's good. And Cast and Craft also does make an epoxy resin, and there's ice resin, which I haven't used. But I've just heard so many good things about Little Windows that I would recommend that, I guess, just based on other friends' experiences. Kathy, you haven't used resin, have you?
No, I haven't. I wanted to get some because I want to redo the table in my breakfast nook, but that would be not necessarily the same stuff because I have to get food grade or whatever, and I have no idea what kinds.
Probably Envirotex Light for you, like, because that's a pour-on stuff.
Yeah.
That's really good. That's really easy to use too. You could use that. It's not for deep casting. Like you wouldn't want to like use it with a bracelet mold. But if you're doing like Scrabble tile jewelry, or you have like little like the little metal bezels, I guess. Is bezel the part you put something in, or is it a cabochon? Bezel. So if you have the little bezels and you put like, you know, your collage or whatever in there, and then you just want to coat it, Envirotex Light would work. You can find that at any hardware store. None of it's really cheap, but you know, that would probably be a little bit more cheaper, I guess. So
Yeah.
I think, yeah, there's a lot out there. Oh, there's a great site though. Resinobsession.com has everything you need to know. They have a great Pinterest board, and I think you could email the owner and ask them, tell them what you need to do, what you want to spend, and I'm sure they can give you the pros and cons of each kind and what, you know, what's best. I don't think they sell Little Windows though. I think that Little Windows is its own outfit, so you probably have to go directly through them. But Resin Obsession is extremely extremely knowledgeable, and there's a YouTuber called Craft Clatch. Her name is Mona, and she does tons of resin tutorials, and you can check her out. She's very good at responding to comments. So if you go to Craft Clatch, K-L-A-T-C-H, on YouTube, I bet she could answer that much better than I could. So check her out. Tell Mona I said hi. She could help you out. Next question.
Shadowlander asks, any good products for making winter decor? I like the deco mesh and making wreaths out of it. It's pretty simple to make wreaths out of that, and you can do so much with them and add different things to them and different colors, and you can get that pretty cheap in the stores with coupons, and they're always running sales for it also.
Oh, good idea.
That's like can go outside, right? In the weather. I mean, probably.
Think it can, yeah.
That's great.
We have all different kinds, and it's really pretty simple.
Do you have a tutorial on that, Melody?
Excuse me?
You have a tutorial on the wreaths on your website?
I did do one last year. I made a snowman wreath where I used 3 different sizes of the wreath rings and made a snowman out of it. And it's pretty simple. There's lots of videos.
Oh, that sounds really cute. Did
Yeah.
you put it outside or on a door or something, or?
Yeah. We put it on the door, and I cut out a hat out of some black glitter paper, and I had, I think, buttons for the eyes, and I put it on like pipe cleaners, the Chanel sticks, and stuck that in so it had eyes and a nose and some buttons on his chest. It was really easy.
That sounds super cute. Now, Kathy, I know you've done a lot of winter decor because your daughter's birthday, usually it's in January, so you've done party decor that's been gorgeous, like felt and stuff. Do you want to talk about some of your projects?
Well, I mean, mine's more, you know, not really like general decor, but has been for party stuff. But I really like, one of my favorite things is snowflakes hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Girls had a winter wonderland party with penguins, I think, when they were 3. So we started it then and cut, you know, like 45 snowflakes and hang them with, you know, the fishing line and hang them from the ceiling all through the house. And we've added to it every year, and now the girls are, you know, able to cut snowflakes themselves. And I still put them up every year. That's part of our winter, and I keep them up really pretty much till the snow flies. And it's just really nice to see the soft little bit of motion floating, and you can, you know, hang if you have some lightweight or even plastic, you know, glass ornaments from the ceiling or down in front of a mirror, or you can do that with leaves and things and cut it from papers or lightweight metal papers. And then I've done, like, you know, bought the paper Chinese lanterns that they have at the dollar store, and they have all kinds of different, you know, ideas online that, like, turn them into animals or different things or flowers, or, you know, put cotton balls on them and have them be clouds and they'll still light up, or, you know, just to set some kind of atmosphere, or, you know, in the fall, you know, if you want some owls hanging from the ceiling with little lights, or, you know, of course that's more oriented around having kids in your house, but. And I've done lattice work with colored lights, and hung that up so it looked like the Northern Lights or Southern Lights for the penguin party. And
didn't you do some like felt chair backers too? Did you?
yeah, I did. And yeah, you could do those for any season, I guess. Basically, you can take a pillowcase or make it out of felt. I've done it for nearly every birthday we did. I used the cheap, thin, like it's an interfacing fleece, and made just a square that slipped over the back of a chair, and one of the kids' scarves, and button eyes, and made snowmen. I did it in black with felt and added little side wings and just simple little eyes and stuff with felt to make it look like a penguin. I've done it with a colored pillowcase and just curved it a little and added calico fabrics and stuff and made it look like an owl.
I'm waving hi to, is that Gabe or Paul in the background?
It's Gabe.
Hello!
He's gone.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting out of here.
That's pretty normal anyway. I don't know that it has anything to do with the camera.
Those are really great ideas. And there's all, you can also like look on Pinterest too. I love the look of ornaments hung from the ceiling too, especially if you don't have room for a Christmas tree or you don't celebrate Christmas. You can string things up in front of your windows and like anything that will catch a light. I like those reflective mirror balls. I've seen ones where they've taken all the metal ornaments that you would use to put on a tree, but they took them all and hung them from ribbons and gathered the ribbons together, so you made like a chandelier over your table or in the middle of your room, and it was so pretty. I mean, you have the expense of getting the balls if you don't have them, but you can always reuse them every year or put them on the tree or whatever. Find something to do with them, I guess. All right. How are we doing for questions, Melody? Are we getting near caught up, or are we?
I don't know. There's a lot. Mary would like to know where to get waxed thread for bookbinding.
Oh, Blick has it. I know. Jerry's might have it. I know Blick has it. They have a whole bookmaking section on their website. That's dickblick.com.
I'm reading some of the bottom question or remarks. The faux Benici journal is like a Midori.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? I've heard they're so expensive that I personally can't justify spending $40 on a blank book. But that said, I've heard artists say that just the paper quality, and if you're using pen and ink, the ink doesn't feather, and that you can replace you get like a leather cover, and then you can replace the signatures. So once you use one up, you just buy like the refill paper, and then there's like I think elastic straps that hold them in. I haven't bought one, but the people that use them just swear by them. So they seem to be a really high quality product. So I wonder if the faux Benici might be like a DIY version or something.
There's more answers now I'm seeing.
Okay.
It's a copycat of the Hobonichi, which is a Japanese style of journaling diary. Somebody says faux Midori, they're journals that are tall and thin and made at home, and they just tie shut. Yeah, I guess it's a type of Japanese.
And they just wanted to know what I thought of it? Was that the
somebody says it's a diary art journal planner, very hot groups on Facebook. Very hot in groups on Facebook.
I love the art journaling movement. I think it's wonderful. In fact, I saw this woman that made these journals at the Common Ground Fair on Friday, and I kicked myself that I didn't buy one because I hit there first, and I never got around back to her booth again. But she had so many beautiful handmade books. I think that journaling is such a good thing to do. I think it's therapeutic. I think it gives you a small space to contain your art if you don't have a studio or if you don't have very much time. So I'm all for it. Journaling in any form. I just haven't used... I'm not like a big-time art journaler, so I don't have much information to share on that personally. But I'm so glad everyone chimed in with their comments. It's almost too bad you couldn't archive the chat. You know, when people are watching the replay, they can't go back in and see what people have said.
Yeah.
I wish I could see the comments. What's that?
that all disappears? Like the little chat, the little questions and everything, that all disappears when we're done?
Yes, the
Oh,
here
I
comments
think
show
it
up,
does.
so people can. So if you guys, yeah, if you want to leave comments or if you have anything to add to the broadcast, if you want to go in afterwards, the comments will show up, and you can say, you know, a tip that you had or anything you had to add on to anything we said, and that would stay on the feed, in the comments for everyone to read that couldn't make it to the live broadcast, because, you know, there'll be, you know, probably a couple thousand viewers that didn't get a chance to see it live, and they'll wanna kind of know all there is to know. Do we have another question, Melody?
Sylvia Rivera says, just to say I'm enjoying this format very much, and I'm also doing some organization in my craft room while I listen. So it seems like a lot of people are enjoying it. Stephanie Lynn wants to know, what would you recommend for protecting colored pencil art? She says that isn't hairspray.
Honestly, I would mat it because it's a work on paper, or even if it's on mat board, it's still like on a papery surface. I would mat it and put it under glass. Plexiglass is even a little bit better as far as protecting it from fading, but glass, you get a clearer view of it. And just like any work on paper, don't hang it in direct sunlight. You just want to make sure you don't have something pressed up against your artwork, just like with any work on paper. And you can get special UV glass. Even regular glass is going to protect it quite a bit. If you want to spray, there is a spray by Krylon called Preserve It, which will put a fine coating of UV protection. But honestly, if you want to protect it properly, mat it and frame it, or put it in a portfolio. And just I'm very leery about spraying things on my artwork. I don't spray my watercolors. I only spray something if it's just smudging or I can't keep the pastel on the paper, because I think anytime you're spraying any sort of fixative, which is almost like an adhesive, you run the risk of it weakening the paper and affecting your colors and deteriorating it. You know, whether it's cheap hairspray or expensive artist quality fixative. I try to stay away from it and just frame it under glass to be safe.
Terry Brown wants to know what the app is called that I use on my iPad, iPhone for recordings. Let me look that up. Two people asked that.
Why don't I'll switch over to the other page. I'll see if I can find some questions, and you can look up your app.
I got a question right here, Lindsay, if you...
Oh yeah, go for it.
Let's see, we have Julie Curtis. What is the cheap and easy way to store markers and stamping blenders?
Okay, stamping blenders, like the blending markers, or like the...
I'm thinking probably maybe, you know, like the Tim Holtz the swirly sticks, or the little ones that stick on your finger and stuff, is maybe what she means.
Oh, well,
and markers as well.
I could grab a couple of my storage solutions. Should I do that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let me do that. I gotta run around the other side of the room. Hopefully not trip over anything. I'm on the other side of the room. Oh boy, I have a lot of blender things.
Something you can do, Julie, that, you know, I kind of lucked out at when we were at the heirloom stamp show. One of the booths had a rack there that was empty, and I asked him if it was for sale, if they were getting rid of it, and he gave it to me free. So, you know, keep your eye out in stores to see if they have any racks that are available. And I also, in the past, have been Nestle's chocolate milk hound, so I have tons and tons of empty containers from the Nestle's chocolate milk, and they're, you know, little containers that would be great if you stack them sideways and lay your markers in there. I know people use like PVC pipes and set up configurations to store things in. Lindsay, you back with your things?
I am. Okay, this is, I use a lot of cigar boxes for my blenders. This is a really deep cigar box. So what I did was I took foam core and I just cut it to make dividers, and I just hot glued them in. And these are these little cool blending. They're like little dowels with these sponges on the end, and it was Lisa from Local King that told me about these. And then I have my larger, like my roll taps in here. And then my homemade jelly tools that I lost, and I just found them right now for the first time in like a year and a half. They're just my, handmade foam jelly plate tools. So they fit really well in those deep cigar boxes. And this cigar box is very neat because it has a clear cover and a slide-off cover, and those are my homemade daubers. And I took a makeup sponge and I folded it in half and I squirted some hot glue into a cap and I just stuck the two ends.
Oh.
Yeah, and they work so good. And they go better the dirtier they get because I have a different cap for each color because they're cheap enough to make. I could make as many as I wanted. And the more ink that it grabs, it's almost like you have a little ink pad, so it's perfect for inking edges or using with stencils. Kind of like the round Tim Holtz ones, but I mean they're practically free. You pay like $1 for 20 of the foam sponges or 40 of them at the Dollar Tree, and you just need to save some caps and you're good to go. And
triangle wedge sponges, right?
yes, yep, the little triangle makeup sponges, the little like for foundation. I think 20 or 40 in a pack at the Dollar Tree. They're a little bit more at Target or the grocery store, but they're not expensive. And you reuse them. I've had those going for a couple of years, and they just get better and better the more ink you use. And then some things come with them, like these are from Jerez. These are a very firm blender. They're good if you if you have a really smooth surface you're blending on, because the ink, it's very non-porous. The ink mostly comes right off, and it came with this case, and I think it was $5 for a set of 40 of these. So I like little clear boxes I can see in. If I don't have to lift a lid, or I can visualize what everything is. My Pan Pastel tools came in these little screw-on things. They just stack together, and I mean that's great because I can see the sponge that fits my tool very quickly. So I'm all for organization that I can see and get to quickly. And the cigar boxes work really well for me.
And what do you do with your markers? Because she asked about markers as well.
I wonder if I can turn this around so you can see it. I think I might be able to. Please excuse the mess, but I've got. Can you see that? Oh yeah. That came from a scrapbook store that was going out of business. It was a marker rack for like Zig pens, I think, and I bought the racks for $10 each, and they're great. But I've also taken like boxes and tipped them on their sides and glued them together before I had that and put markers in that way. So, I mean, any way you can store them so you can keep them flat so that the double-ended markers stay evenly inked on each end, I think you're good, however you want to do that. Whether you build something yourself or... Oh, another thing, this one you can buy. They have them in clear or black. The Spectrum Noir little stand. They'll fit any marker, I think, but it keeps them like organized if you like to have them in rainbow order. And I put a rubber band around it because when I'm working, I like to tip it upright so I can see everything, but I want to store it flat so they stay inked on each end. And those are available for purchase. Hallmark Scrapbook has a pretty good price on them, but you can find them at any store that sells the Spectrum Aqua or Spectrum Noir markers. I think they're about $25 for a set like this. So, I don't think it's the most bang for your buck. I mean, it looks great and keeps your stuff all organized by color, but I'm just as happy having all my markers in a jumble as long as they're kind of sorted by color family.
I found my app.
Oh, good. What is it?
It looks like this, and up there in the corner. And then you can use up to 4 cameras with it. Can you guys see it? I can't see what I'm seeing, what you're seeing. There. You can use up to 4 cameras with it, or 4 phones, and it uses there's one.
Oh, wow.
And then you can, so you can do 2 shot. You can do a shot from your iPad and from your camera. And when I have my open up the camera app, it'll just list it over here and say Melody's iPhone, and I click on that and say record that.
And so that must be wireless?
Yeah. Does it have, it's all Bluetooth.
I'm sorry, Kathy. What was that?
Does it have like a specific name, like that's just only for our iPads, and does it have like a tagline name or?
I think it's only for iPad. It's called Multicam. So if you look in the App Store for Multicam, you'd have to install it on your phone and the iPad.
That's very cool.
Yeah, if you wanted to do different camera shots and you have multiple phones from people in your family or something, you could do different shots. And this will also blend them together. You can edit on here, but I've never done that.
That's really cool. I bet a lot of viewers are going to find that very useful.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Worth checking into. I might have to check and see if they have something for, the non-iPads.
Yeah, we're Android users here, so I don't know. I don't know if they have that for that yet. Let's see if we can get through some questions kind of rapid fire so that everyone gets their question answered that's on, hopefully. Are you able to keep up with them, Melody, or do you want Kathy and I to be looking?
Yeah, Kathy can go ahead and look too. Somebody just asked, is Melody the new Lorraine? No. Lorraine was supposed to be here, but she couldn't be because of something with her family.
Yep. Yeah, I kind of thinking, well, she might pop through because she lives in my town, so I kind of expected to maybe hear her knock on the door, but I guess not. She'll probably end up just coming over and then going on camera with me here. So hopefully, maybe next week. Either of you find any new questions? I guess I could.
Question from Harley Gran. Art journal pages stick. Maybe because I have used Mod Podge. Sorry, YouTube seal artwork furniture with paste. What would you use? Also, what do you seal a watercolor painting with?
I don't seal my watercolors. I frame them under glass, or I mat them and put them in archival clear bags. Like, because in my shop, I sell my watercolors unframed, and I just have them in. They have these clear polypropylene, FDA, food safe, acid-free bags at Paper Mart, and I get those, and I just mat them and put them in there. It protects them from fingerprints and anything happening to them, and it keeps them safe until they're framed permanently behind glass. And as far as your pages sticking, Mod Podge a lot of people have a hard time with that, and I've noticed that in my art journal too, that if I've used like Mod Podge and a fine tip pen and I've drawn with it and used it as a resist, that it will it doesn't tear the paper, but you'll kind of hear that sticky noise when you open the pages up. Matte Mod Podge is not going to do that quite so bad. Anytime you have anything glossy, you have more of a chance of it being sticky. So what I have done is I have rubbed the pages with canning wax, just the regular paraffin from the grocery store, or a candle, or whatever you have, a beeswax even, anything, and then I'll zap it with my heat tool, and that will get rid of any unevenness, and then it's perfect. You can touch the pages, it keeps them safe from your fingerprints, it gives them a beautiful matte finish, and it protects them, and it takes away the stickiness. And that's just any chunk of wax that you have. You don't have to go buy anything special. And then zap it with your heat tool or hair dryer to, make it an even finish, and that works for me. Do you guys have any other tips for non-sticky journal pages?
Nope.
All right, let's get another question done.
Someone asked about erasing charcoal pencil, and somebody else recommended they used a kneaded eraser.
Yes.
Every time they try a regular eraser, it leaves black spots.
Yeah, kneaded eraser is the way to go, and don't rub it. You want to press it on the charcoal and keep lifting until you've got most of it out. And then there's white vinyl erasers that are very non-abrasive, and they can go in and clean up any trace afterwards if you do need to get it back to that bright white. And you can even find white vinyl erasers at the dollar store in 6-packs. But if you go to the drafting store, the office supply store, Mars makes just a white eraser, and it's very gentle and does a good job. But start with a kneaded eraser. Get as much off as you can first, so you don't just smear the stuff around.
Okay, Rhonda McGee asks, Lindsay, what is your favorite colored pencils and why?
Oh, gosh, there's so many good ones, and I think it would depend on your budget and if you want to work on white paper mostly or colored paper mostly, because some pencils are more opaque. I'm doing a tutorial, actually, it's been working on it today, it should air tomorrow. It's one of the Stamp School episodes, and we're going to use colored pencil, and I'm using Color Soft for that, and I'll just reach around because I've got all my supplies on the other side of the laptop here, but I could show you the lid. I only have a small set of them, but the reason I like the Color Soft right now is because they're very consistent in quality. They're by Derwent, who's a fantastic pencil maker. You won't be disappointed, I don't think, with anything by Derwent, except their metallic pencils. They totally stink. Don't buy the metallic pencils. But their Color Soft are, they're nice. The lead is really thick. They're very soft, but they're not so soft that they break. Prismacolors are probably my favorite, but I have to add the warning that the leads break. And if you have ordered them and they've been shipped roughly to you, you may sharpen them and your lead falls out, and you sharpen them and the lead falls out, and it's a waste of money. And then they've been made in Mexico over the past couple of years, and the leads are not centered sometimes, and they tend to break a little bit more because of that, because when you sharpen them, if the lead's not centered, it just adds a little bit more abuse to the lead as it's being sharpened, so they tend to break. But they're very soft and very opaque, and they're lovely to work with, but I have to add that disclaimer that the quality control has gone down. So I would say if you like to work on colored paper, go for Color Soft. If you like to work on, or if you're extremely budget limited and you want to work on colored paper, use Prang. Prang is an excellent pencil. It's made for children, but it performs very well. And you can get that at like Staples or Walmart probably. And then if you like to work on white paper mostly, I would check out Faber-Castell's Polychromos pencils. They're quite transparent. They blend really well with Gamsol, but they're also very expensive. So Spectrum Noir behaves a lot like the Polychromos, but they're quite a bit cheaper, and I didn't run into any issues with them breaking. I've used them a lot with the adult coloring pages, and they've worked very well. They hold a nice sharp point. I ordered mine from Consumer Crafts, and I got them for $16 a set, so they're much more affordable. And you can use the Prang on white paper too. I think that it just depends on how much you have to spend. I don't think the Faber-Castell Polychromos, and a lot of artists are gonna bash me on this one, but I don't think they're worth the cost that they are. They're very expensive. So personally, for what you get, you get to a point where you're paying a lot of money for just a little bit of benefit when you get into the higher end art supplies a lot of times, and I think that's kind of the case there. But I think the Derwent Color Softs are a very solid value right now. If you shop around, you can get a pretty decent buy, and you can replace them as you use them up, or you can buy a couple at a time and see if you like them. But hopefully that was helpful. Do you guys have any recommendations that you want to share?
Nope. I've just started playing with them.
All right, let's have another question.
Lyd asks, hi ladies, I just joined the PTO in my kids' school and we want to make teacher gifts every month or season. Any ideas on something economical? Then she says, LOL.
Let's see. I always like bookmarks. Those are fun to make. Kathy made some beautiful fabric ones for that was like an author's dinner, right, Kathy?
Yes, the literacy tea party. Yeah. And that was easy, and you could really use scraps, just strips, and using some of the stiff interfacing to make them hold up. But I'm a big fan of toilet paper rolls. I've made lots of cute little containers and stuff with toilet paper rolls and paper and some of the kids' foam, to make a little container to put candy in. Paper little baskets. Just beautiful cards are nice too, a couple cards, so it's like a little thank you pack that they can use.
You can also take those those clear marbles from the dollar store, and you can glue some your paper scraps to the back of them, and then glue them on thumbtacks or glue them on magnets, and make some really cute desk accessories for the bulletin board, and you can cover clothespins with paper. And I know a lot of teachers use the clothespins for when kids are naughty, they put the clothespin next to their name. If they know they've got they've got one warning or something, they put a clothespin next to their name on a board, or they'll use a clothespins for marking who's gone to the bathroom, and just to keep track of their kids. So making some pretty clothespins for the teachers. Let's see. I don't know, stocking school supplies, if you come across a good deal, after the back to school rush, and you can get glue sticks and pencils and things like that cheaply, just making maybe a little paper box and just putting in a pack of pencils and a few glue sticks, just those little extras that they're buying out of pocket. I think if you can just wrap them with a cute tag and a bow, or even a cute tag that can be used as a bookmark, something like that, I think is really useful for a teacher, so they don't just have extra clutter. They've got stuff that they're normally kind of shelling out their own pocket for. decorated tissue boxes would be great because they go through so many tissues throughout the school year with the kids with their colds. And hand sanitizers, you could take a hand sanitizer and, you know, make a cute little punched tag and a little stamp like thank you, or come up with something clever. There's probably some clever little, you know, germ saying or something you could, you know, stamp on there. And, you know, just think of the stuff that they spend their own money on and that they go through, like, and I would find a cute way to package them. Oh, little K-cup holders. Have you guys seen those little crafted? They make those little boxes out of paper and they put little K-cups in them, like, or something with coffee or cocoa. I don't know. I think that. Any way to treat those teachers that put up with our rotten little children all day? You guys have any other ideas to share?
No, there's Post-it note, like a card you make that's a Post-it note holder too, and you can flip it over and it holds Post-it notes. I know there's SVGs for that, for the electronic die cutters. Someone has sent me some.
Oh, great idea.
That's still, I'm supposed to make a video on that. That was months ago. I still haven't done that yet.
Well, check out her channel. She has a video coming up anytime now for that Post-it note holder. Now you have to do it, Melody. I
will.
All right, let's have another question.
Maggie Laird says she has father's old ice skates and wondering if you have any ideas of what I can do to display them. Thanks.
I took ice skates. With men's ice skates, I'm not exactly sure. They're probably figure skates, I guess, even though they're men's. I took I had a radio flyer sled, and we burn wood in our fireplace in the winter, and we always have a big like rack of wood on our front porch. So I took a radio flyer, one of those old wooden sleds, and leaned it up against the wood pile, and then I tied my ice skates, just kind of tied them together in a knot, and I hung it over the edge of the sled, and it just looks so pretty there next to the wood pile. You know, I think you could do anytime you find like an old antique sled like that, because they don't slide very well. The kids aren't going to want to slide with it. But if you find one of those, lean it up against your porch, and you know, hang your ice skates from it. Maybe even hang a wreath on it if you celebrate Christmas. I think that would be really cute. Any other ideas?
Could you paint on them? Because that's the first thing I thought of, was that you might paint something on them, and again, you know, hang them on the wall with a wreath or whatever at Christmas time or through the winter.
Yeah, that'd be cute. And you could even like trim it like with tinsel or boughs or something, like probably artificial boughs so they don't get dried out around the top edge, or put a plant in it or something like that, holly, mistletoe, or ivy or something like that you could just kind of stick in there in a little pot. How are we looking on questions, guys? Do you think we ought to be thinking about wrapping it up, or?
Here's one good question.
Okay.
How do you break out of a creative block? From Tanya Catazone.
Oh, that is a good question. I usually clean my studio when I'm stuck, because usually if I'm in a creative block, that's why I have so much stuff. Like, I feel suffocated with all the things that I have around me. So usually cleaning helps kind of clean my mind and clear out room for new ideas to come in. And then I find things that I forgot that I had, and that, you know, always sparks something. Plus, I'd always rather be creative than cleaning, so I get distracted by something and start, you know, making a whole new mess. And that usually clears out my creative block.
Yeah. And I can just go through stuff and forget that we have stuff here. You know, something I bought that I never actually used. There's a lot of that around here. And or go shopping, or just walking through the craft stores to get ideas. Like Hobby Lobby, there's so much in there that inspires me, that I see stuff in the store and I'm like, oh, I want to make that. Well, then I never make it. But if I'm blocked, you know, going shopping and looking at everything, it helps.
How about you, Kathy? Oh, is Kathy still with us? Oh, I think we might have lost Kathy for a minute there. I think her screen might be frozen.
Frozen.
Yeah. Well, let's go to the next question. If she wants to chime in afterwards, then she can. Are there any more questions?
I see an answer to a question.
Oh.
It says, put the pencil in the microwave and they will stop breaking. So I guess there's a question about breaking.
Okay, yes, and I'm kind of hesitant to recommend this. I have recommended it before, but some people have said they have started fires in their microwave. I personally take my Prismacolors, and if the lead keeps breaking when I sharpen them, I put them in my microwave on high for 6 to 8 seconds only. So what I usually do is put it, like I'll hit the 30-second button and wait, let it count down a few seconds, and I stop it, and then I take it out, let it cool, and sharpen it. Sometimes the paint will bubble if you go over 8 seconds. But some people have said that it sparks because of the metallic imprinting on the pencil. I haven't had that happen, and I haven't had a fire start, but somebody told me once, and I don't know if they were just spamming me or what, but they said they caught their microwave on fire. So I'm very say do it at your own risk. Don't hold me liable for you microwaving your pencils, but yes, it does. It will melt the pencil lead so that the crack gets fused back together so you can sharpen it again. So yes, that will absolutely work. Just do it with extreme care and don't wander off and, cook your pencil for 2 minutes.
Jennifer's Crafty Nook asks, my question is, what would you suggest for using what would you suggest to use for coloring on glossy photo paper?
Oh, well, if it is from the lab, the photo lab, there is photo tinting markers and photo tinting pencils. They're like an oil-based pencil, or you can actually use oil paint. If it's from, if you're printing it at home, the easiest thing to do is to, it's easier if you're printing on matte paper and then use like a little, like a Q-tip and chalk. Works great. Chalk may stick to the glossy photo, like paper from home. The thing is that those glossy papers have a coating on them, and if you use your markers, some of that coating can come off onto the nib, and the coating from home printing is made to dry instantly, so it's really hard to get a nice blend. So if you can use a chalk, it works really well for home printing stuff. But if you're going to the lab, you can use oil paints, you can use an oil pencil, or any of the photo tinting markers. I'm trying to think, there was a company that specialized in that, and maybe it was Walnut Hollow. They might have had some. I'm kind of having a blank, but they were an oil-based colored pencil, and if you search photo tinting pencils, it'll come right up. And they're not crazy expensive either, I don't think. But if you had polychromos, oil-based colored pencils, they would work. Probably the colored pencils you have might even work. I've done oil paints, and they work really well too.
Super Tammy Girl says alcohol inks also work on glossy paper.
Oh, great! Oh, great! Well, Kathy's back. Awesome.
Sorry, I was just going to say goodbye. I thought it would be kind of a pain for me to get back in. I don't know what happened. My tablet just decided it had had enough, apparently. But I am back.
Great. Did you want to have a add to the what to do, how you break out of a creative block discussion?
Well, I typed in a little bit of a response. As I like to look at old magazines. Like, as I said earlier, I don't really throw much away. So I have, just last night I was looking at old Stamping Up catalogs. So I have the first Create and Keepsake magazine and stuff. I like to look through those because you kind of rediscover things or see a color combination that you forgot about. And like Melody said, just to go shopping, but not necessarily a craft store. Like go into the hardware store, they always have some cool things that are just different and kind of takes you out of the box of thinking. And certainly fabric store always inspires me with colors and ideas.
Oh, and I have some old magazines for you too, because somebody donated a bunch of old Stamping and gorgeous magazines and stuff. I gotta get some of those over to you so I can clear out some of my clutter and I can be creative again.
Thank you so much.
Your problem now, lady. All right, Melody, let's have another question.
What's your favorite watercolor brand?
M. Graham. That's my favorite. There's a lot of good ones, but that's personally my favorite.
I'm not seeing a whole lot of more questions. Some of them are just comments and.
Well, are we actually caught up? I never feel caught up after an Ask a Crafter.
I see one here. I don't know if you guys might have asked it when I was gone because I couldn't hear what was going on in the interim, but Janine Elise Pike says, I really want to be able to create my own line stamps with crisp lines. I have tried string on card, but hard to get detail and not very crisp lines when stamped. Any ideas?
I would recommend, I'm going to be doing a video on stamp carving where you use an eraser or a specialized rubber block you can get from an art supply store, and you carve it with carving tools that aren't very expensive, but that gives you a fantastic line. I'll grab some that I've carved already so that you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Sorry to hop out of the camera here, but I'll show you. I mean, I don't know if I'll get the kind of detail that you want. I had to duck under had a limbo under my power cord there. I don't know if this is as much detail as you would talk, but like this key was one that I carved. I think I've actually in the past done a video on this cameo, but you know, you just carve it out of an eraser or a printing block, and it's very easy to do. And
what do you use to carve it with?
You use linoleum cutters, and Speedball makes a set of like 5 cutters, and I think you can get the set and handle for about $10. But I mean, they'll last you quite a while. And it's safe enough for even, you know, I've taught it in classes with kids as young as 5. As long as you're careful, it's a pretty safe and easy craft. I mean, you're working with a sharp blade, but if you take care, then you don't really have to worry about it too much, and you do get a beautiful impression, and the stamps will last a long time. So that's what I would recommend. You don't have to go buy an expensive machine like the stamp maker, which is iffy at best. There's such a learning curve with that. There's not as much of a learning curve with stamp carving. And I do have a tutorial on my website, but I'll be coming up with a better one fairly soon with my better camera. It was an old one.
When I was a kid, we made stamps out of potatoes.
Oh, yeah.
It was, I think, in Girl Scouts we did that.
Yep, potato stamping. Any other questions?
What's your favorite color to work with?
Gosh, I like greens a lot because it goes with everything, kind of like a neutral. I also like craft because it goes with a lot. I'm personally drawn to like reds and oranges, but I don't know. I use all colors, I guess.
I like bright colors.
Yeah, I could tell. I could see all those colors behind you. You seem to wear purple a lot. Is that your favorite color?
Yes, it is.
How about you, Kathy?
Colors, greens, aquas, purple.
This is the color of my
And
car.
I like craft paper too.
Yeah. That's the color of your car, Melody, you said?
Yeah, my shirt matches my car. Oh, and my nails match too.
Your car is that color? That's awesome.
Yeah. And I put white butterflies, intricate cut vinyl butterflies all along the side of my car, so it looks like they're coming out of the wheel and floating up.
You'll have to post a picture of it. That's cool. I have a question. Ooh, lost it. Where'd she go? Alexandra Sleepak says, hello, I'm using glycerin as an embossing ink, and my embossing tends to peel off. Am I doing something wrong? Greetings from Poland.
Peel off, huh? I have not had that problem. I use glycerin for my embossing. That's what I refill my embossing pad with. Gosh, have you guys had that happen with anything you've been using?
I did on, they were pre-cut boxes I got at the dollar store. I think they're like for a wedding. They were kind of in a gown shape, and I think the cardboard or cardstock that they were made of had a little bit of a, it's not like they were glossy cardstock, but the finish on them, and we like added stuff to, you know, glitter them up, and it peeled off. So maybe you need to, you know, make sure it's like a matte kind of cardstock or paper that she's dealing with.
Yeah, that could be, because I've done those wooden tiles, and I've made a bracelet out of them, and I embossed with some like silver, and it did chip off. So it must need to be like a matte. And I guess maybe if you, because embossing can be also a resist, glycerin can be a resist. So maybe if you had too much, it could like impregnate the paper a little bit and make it want to pop off. So if you try different paper and it's still peeling, maybe after you ink up your stamp, if it looks really juicy, maybe take a makeup sponge and just gently tap some of that off. so that you're not getting so much that it's sinking into your paper and creating a barrier or something. I think, anybody have anything to add?
Nope. Kathy Spires asks, how do you seal alcohol ink pieces on UPO paper?
Well, again, I would frame under glass. I would mat it and frame under glass because I really don't think that needs a sealant. It's not like you're going to be getting it wet or anything, and it should be pretty permanent. So that's what I would do. I guess if you wanted to frame it without glass, you have to be careful because most sprays have alcohol in them. If you wanted to spray it, I guess you might want to brush. If you want to like put it on like a board and hang it unframed, you could probably brush on a water-based sealer because if you use a regular polyurethane or a regular oil-based sealer, I think it will lift up your ink. So I guess you could brush on a polyacrylic if you want to frame it without glass, but your best bet is to go with a mat to keep your glass from touching the alcohol ink, and then put the glass to it, or plexiglass. Are we caught up?
No.
I have a question from Ms. Chaos Lost. I'm making decorative boxes and started to use clay. Is it safe to set the clay onto the box and put it in the oven? Is the wood okay in the oven at a low temperature?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, you can even do paper at that temperature. It's not going to hurt it. You can even do plastic at the temperature that you're baking the polymer clay. There's even some plastic that you can put in that temperature. It's not going to hurt it. I mean, just like anytime you're doing art in the oven, make sure that you don't wander off. You need to be nearby in case something happens. I want to see if I can
pretty much caught up now.
Oh, great. Okay, I just lost my desktop here. There we go. All right, great. Well, I think we should probably wrap it up. This show has been like really long. It's been like an hour and 45 minutes. I'm so glad you guys came here, and I hope that people listen to this and enjoy it. And I know there'll be some people that probably complain because the video quality isn't what it usually is when we do an Ask a Crafter, but I think most people listen to it while they're going about their day, like a podcast. So I hope that all the folks that have been bummed out with the shorter episodes over the past year enjoy this, and I want to thank everybody that watched live. We're up to 163 viewers currently watching the stream. Do you ladies want to tell everyone where they can find you on the net?
I want to thank you for inviting me. This was a lot of fun. You can find me at youtube.com/MelodyLane, and I am Melody Lane 815 on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, everything else. And I also sell my digital paper that I make from my paintings, and you can get that at melodylanedesigns.com.
Awesome. And Kathy, where can people find you?
Nowhere. I'm not anywhere. They can find me in Bangor. I'm not anywhere yet, but maybe we'll have to see how things go. What I sort out this fall and stuff, and I might have something to add to one of these shows one of these times.
Well, you have the Google Plus page now because you had to get online today, so you can always start posting photos there and stuff if you wanted to share your artwork.
Well, I might do that because I know that I haven't ever really put any of my stuff up. So maybe you'll see something from me. But yeah.
Is it okay if people drop you a note on your Google Plus page?
Certainly. Okay. So would that be Catherine Oldfield or under the So What 34 at Yahoo?
Yeah, it'll be under your name. I'll put a link in the video description as soon as the broadcast ends so that they can find you and they can find Melody, and everyone can keep in touch with everybody. So I guess I'll sign off. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, happy crafting.
Bye.